What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to the brother Magnetic Discovery for the donation to the channel via the PayPal. Much respect to you for showing love to Too Raw for TV. So, look, in this particular video, I want to tackle something that is pretty much one of the ongoing conversations in basketball, and that is ratings. All right. For the most part, ratings are down significantly. There was a report that came out a couple weeks ago that showed that the ratings were down nearly 50% since 2012. And ratings are down, I think, since what, 2020 or so. Or I forgot exactly when this last measure was done, but in recent years they've been down as much as a quarter or 20% or something like that. I think since the bubble. Whatever the case may be, ratings are way down. Okay. And there are a myriad of reasons as to why that's the case. But one of them is the 3-point insanity that's going on in the NBA. Okay. The 3-point shots started in 1979, 1980. And back in those days, I mean, it really wasn't taken with great frequency. I think the first year that it was instituted in the NBA, teams averaged less than 1 3-point attempt per game. It went down to like maybe as low as half a 3-point attempt per game per team, meaning that teams are only taking for the entire season 30 to 40 3-point attempts for the whole year. Now you got teams that easily take that many in a game in 3 quarters. So, look, man, it's gotten ridiculous. In the Jordan era, teams were probably taking on average 14, 15 3-point attempts per night. In the Kobe era, maybe about 18 to 20. Even as recently as when LeBron's with the Heat, that number was about 20, 22 a game. Now it's up to 37, 38 a night. That's too many, man. That's way too many. And the trade-off is it doesn't compute. The trade-off for all those threes don't even justify it, because people say, "Oh, well, scoring is up." Sure, but let's look at the facts here. Teams are taking 37.6 3-pointers a night, right? All-time high. The league average for points is 113 a night. 2 years ago, teams were taking about 34 threes a night, yet the league average for points was around 115. So actually, if anything, the more threes players are taking, efficiency is going down, scoring is going down slightly. So look, man, at the end of the day, this just isn't good for basketball, man. The game has become insufferable to watch. Not everybody needs to be a prolific 3-point shooter. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, those guys were different. Some guys shouldn't be doing this. The mid-range game has become a lost art. I don't care what, analytics say about mid-range shots being inefficient. They weren't inefficient or, a bad shot when Michael Jordan was doing it, or when Adrian Dantley would sometimes take his mid-range shot, or Alex English, really, Bernard King, Glenn Big Dog Robinson. There are a lot of great players in the history of the NBA who had exceptional mid-range games. Carmelo Anthony. At the end of the day, what has happened to the NBA, to me, has been a combination of analytics going wrong, Like it or not, the influence of Steph Curry has had a little bit of a negative impact. Okay, he's had a little bit of a negative impact. Same way Michael Jordan unintentionally had a negative impact on the league. But that, I mean, Jordan was brilliant as an ISO scorer. Unfortunately, you had a lot of guys who grew up influenced watching Mike, and then you started seeing a glut of ISO basketball, which was a problem that we saw in the early to mid 2000s. We started seeing way too much ISO play, slowing the game down, sometimes making it a bad watch. So I don't want to always too overly romanticize basketball in that period, because it had its problems too. But this 3-point glut, where everybody wants to emulate Steph Curry, nah, man, this is the worst. So look, we can complain about it to our face turn blue, which is hard for somebody like me, being as black as I am. But anyway, what can we do to rectify this problem? Um, well, there's a couple things we could try. Number one, and I've had a couple of subscribers mention this to me, uh, as far as discussions, I've seen comments, excuse me, comments or messaging me on my, as far as Patreon is concerned, incentivize post play or inside scoring. One idea that was floated, and I kind of agree with this, is, the traditional 3-point play has always been when a player scores a field goal. When a player scores a field goal and is fouled at the same simultaneously, they get the bucket and a foul, and then the potential with a free throw for a 3-point play. I propose that if you score in the paint, if you happen to score a bucket and a foul, you get 2 free throws. So there's potential for 4 points. I think that's a good incentive to kind of get players to kind of get a little bit closer to the basket, and not rely so much on outside shooting, right? And I've seen some people, Bill Simmons was one of them, suggest that we get rid of corner threes, and I don't know if that's a good idea, because you don't want to make too many changes. I mean, I don't want to be Adam Silver where you're changing everything and you start making a mockery of the game. Okay. you know, sorry for the laughter you hear in the background, but I don't want to make a mockery of the game in that way, man. I don't think that's the right thing. But, another thing you could do is you could try to put a cap on the amount of threes strategically a team will take every quarter, right? Now, what that number is, I guess, may differ from other people. I don't mind the 3-point shot. Matter of fact, when I was growing up, I loved the 3-point shot. I loved it. I just don't think it should be done to the extent it is being done today. I think a good cap would be 6 a quarter. Okay, 6 3-pointers a quarter. That would wind up being about 24, 25 threes a night, right? That's a good number. That's pretty much where we were at the beginning of the Golden State Warriors run, about 24, 25 threes a night. That's not bad. We still get a lot of threes taken, but not to the extent where we're having 40 a night. That's just too much, okay? So, keep it around 6 a quarter. Look, you're going to go over that total to a certain extent, but try to keep them down. In particular, I would say in the first half of games, right? In the first half of games. Try to encourage inside play earlier on in the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I think you could try to do. Another thing is that, man, just bring back to a certain extent. We're not. I know they're not going to bring back hand checking. They're just not going to do it. It's, that but they don't want that physicality brought back to the game. But at the very least, repeal this freedom of movement rule. I don't like the fact that the offensive player can pretty much do whatever they want to do. And the only thing as a defender you can do is just stay in front of them. A defender needs to be able to create a little bit more resistance than that. It's become a little bit too easy. And, for guys to be able to just step into their shot around the 3-point line, I think things should be a little bit tougher. You could also, and I think another thing that'll help is allow players to start guarding and pressing, I should say, the ball handler from the time that they're bringing the ball up the floor. You know what I'm saying? Kind of make it a little tougher, man. A little tougher for teams to get into their offensive set. And, you know, me personally, I think they need to get back to the point where you could at least pressure guys to not just be standing around 3-point line. Chase them off the line a little bit, man. I mean, look, I know we're not going to make it like the bad boy 90s days. I get that. We're not going to, or bad boy Piston days, or the 90s, I should say. I know we're not going to get to that level, but bring back some physicality when it comes to defense. Because it's just not, this ain't it. The NBA today is just not it, fellas. You know? Another thing we got to do is change the culture a little bit. Stop demonizing centers. Giannis Antetokounmpo. If this was 20 years ago, Giannis would be one of the most popular players in the NBA. He plays like an old school big man, but because there's this stupid perception that you got to have the bag, which means perimeter skills, you know, or perceived perimeter skills, ball handling, which Giannis is actually a pretty good ball handler, but you know, people think if you can dribble between your legs and yak up 30 footers and look good doing it, then that means you got the bag, you know. Never mind if you're shooting 32% from downtown or 39% from the floor. As long as you know what I'm saying, make highlight reels, making some deep threes, and you're a baller. Never mind, just ridiculous. But let's promote the bigs a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Let's promote the Giannis Antetokounmpos. Let's promote Nikola Jokic, who takes threes, but not too many. You know what I'm saying? He don't live behind 3-point line. Uh, you know, promote Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a center that's playing in the modern era. Does he shoot threes from time to time? Yeah, but he doesn't live behind 3-point line because a big man shouldn't be playing like that. True big men take advantage of their size, take advantage of the gifts that God gave them. You know what I'm saying? So let's promote the big men more. And another thing too, I want to say, let's change some of the people who are promoting the game, and by that I mean some of the analysts, because you got too many of them who were part of the problem themselves. Gilbert Arenas, chucker, 3-point chucker, played no defense. JJ Redneck, 3-point shooter, played no defense. You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't see him on TV as much as I used to. Antoine Walker, another chucker, didn't play no defense. Don't you think that these guys will actually be advocates to a certain extent of what's going on right now, because they're the personification of what the problem is now? You know what I'm saying? You got too many of those guys who are in the mainstream media or social media talking about the game. Of course, they're going to be rather demeaning of old school basketball because it doesn't fit the type of game that they were playing. That's part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Giannis goes that route, hell, once his career is over with, let's encourage him to go into the media. Let's encourage Anthony Davis to go into the media if he chooses to do so once his career commences. I want to hear what the big man got to say more often. You know what I'm saying? That's why I appreciate Shaq being on TV, because you may not agree with his analysis, but he's coming from the perspective of a big man. To him, it's too many threes being taken. He's been saying that for years. But a guard, he's gonna fight back on that, because the way they play basketball is what JJ Redneck did. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm trying not to like think of too many gimmicky things, uh, but I think those are things that could be starts. Um, the rest of it is just the culture, man. It's just we got to get out of this mentality that uh, somehow if you shoot a lot of threes, then that's a great thing. It's not. Statistically, it shows that you're actually hurting your team, because if a team takes 45, let's go 50. If a team takes 53s and you make 15 of them, you've missed 35 three-point attempts. You've missed 35 of them. You're trying to tell me that if you, as a team, let's say you take 85 shots and 50 of them were three-pointers. Matter of fact, it might even be 85. But let's go with 85. Let's say you take 85 shots and 50 of them was threes, and you missed 15 of those. And then of the 35 field goals that were not threes, you made 22 of those. How can you justify shooting 22 or 35 from two, but only 15 or 50 from three? And you lose the game by 27. How can you justify that? So I think there should be a balance. You know what I'm saying? I think it should be promotion of post play. Like I said, encourage guys scoring in the paint more. Um, because look, we're never going to have those big trees anymore. You know what I'm saying? The days of Charles Barkley taking 30, taking the whole goddamn shot clock to back in from the 3-point line to the post. That's not going to happen no more. You know what I'm saying? Those days are over with. But let's just encourage guys to go in the paint a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Score a little bit more in the paint. Work on, I know I see Trae Young and the Hawks doing this a lot. Bring back, and I see the NBA's been bringing this back. Bring back lobs. Get the centers involved more. You know what I'm saying? That I know people don't really show these guys a lot of love. So you guys out here rebounding, playing defense. Reward these guys. Throw lobs, more fast break, transition. Oh, another thing, when you're running in transition, for the love of God, if you got a 3-on-1 advantage on the fast break, do not stop at the 3-point line, ladies and gentlemen. Please have at least two guys run to the cup. Come on, man. You got to work on the basketball IQ too. Okay, work on the basketball IQ. You don't always have to settle for a three, man. And one of the worst things that I see is when a team gets a steal, and you know what I'm saying, the guy, the defender who got the steal, maybe a point guard or whatever, before his team has even transitioned onto the other side of the floor, right? He yaks up a three. Nobody down low for his team to get a rebound. Nothing. He just yaks up a three, bricks, other team get the ball right back. I mean, can we slow things down and work on some type of play that is at least more apt to come away with a score. I mean, I understand attacking, and taking advantage of the defense still not being set, but come on, man. At least like drive to the basket and get fouled or something. Some, get some points, man, for the efforts of getting a steal. But anyway, that's just a tip of the iceberg thing, man. Just some of the things we could do to try to get the glut out of the 3-point monotony. You know what I'm saying? Man, tell me what you guys think.